Hey, um, did you change the name of the? Oh no, never mind.
Oh, I might have been
Hello,
muted that
everyone.
whole time. We're back. Uh, s- yes. All right. So not only am I returning, Big UwU is also returning, which is the team. Um, we had the team that was running Jack Sejuani, Lux, Caitlin Morgana, I believe. Well, they might draft something similar, as their style tends to be pretty constant game to game. But now they will be on red side, which is a notable difference.
Wait, do you have the draft link already, Ben? Can you send it to me?
Yeah, I can. One sec. I don't think you're missing it too much. The bans at this point being pretty stock standard. The Camille going over onto Thomas, and the Echo being answered for the ban onto Lance. I imagine we'll see Camille, Quinn, and Kale. I would be shocked, in fact, if it was any other trio of bans for Guts here. I think about every team has realized that those three champions are just scary when in the hands of Thomas.
Our team banned Fiora over Camille actually, but yeah, the point still stands.
Yep, and that will be the Kale ban. Kale is just so nasty. Yasuo, I think, is an interesting ban. Yasuo and Zed, I think, both um, not like necessarily strong in fives, but I guess in the hands of Lance, pretty formidable pick. The Nunu being prioritized for Guts. I believe their jungler is a Nunu one trick, and whenever that is up, I think they do like to first pick it. Um, so that is not the first time we've seen that being picked by them.
Hmm.
And similarly, another looks like another Lux first pick for Big UwU. This is, of course, what they picked first last draft. Sejuani instead being hovered. Which will it be? It will be the Sejuani.
Yeah, that's a very popular jungler for Big Ubu, considering that Thomas plays a lot of these carry bruiser champions that synergize pretty well with him.
Right. I think Lunar is it's definitely one of their strongest picks. I'm gonna go ahead and turn you up. You might not be loud enough. All right, there we are. The Senna being picked up here. I believe that will go on to. Let me pull up the teams here. Okay, yeah, so we'll be on to Nice Condemn there. We've seen a lot of like Vayne and Kaisa, and last game I guess was Caitlyn. So a little bit more diversity being shown here from Nice Condemn, and it's always good to see that. What do you like normally see picked with Senna here?
I'm
I
actually wondering if that Senna is a pick for Baba Baozi. I feel like it could be flushed either way.
Oh, that's very true. I
But
guess I just kind of disregarded that.
yeah, I think she's like pretty commonly paired up with Swain. I can also see her doing like pretty well with like Lux. But the Jin and Leona is definitely going to be pretty hard for Senna. Those heavy engage comps are certainly very scary.
Yes, I did play this earlier today, and that lane is just nasty. You win pretty much any engage on anyone at any time, 2v2 especially. I'm interested to see if we will learn the location of the Senna this round or the next round. Okay, it will be, you were right, it will be Baba Bazi on the Senna, and the Ezreal going over to Nice Condemn instead.
Mhm.
The Poppy being banned here to take away from, let's see, from Ostino. Austin did play the Poppy earlier today.
Right. I think that's definitely his most comfortable top laner. Um, we'll see how he fares against Thomas though.
Right. Leone being taken
Especially,
away.
yeah, especially because like he won't be on it anymore. Um, yeah, the classic five top lane ban.
It is nothing new in this tournament. That's for
Yeah,
sure. I don't expect to ever see Thomas on a Malphite. I'm gonna be real with you, but they took it away
he
nonetheless.
has played it in our scrims against other universities.
I see. That's true. I have seen some pretty nasty Malphite solo laning. Deluxe being locked in for Big Uwu. Covered it earlier. Will likely go into the hands of Yvonne once again. They're saving last pick for Lance. I'm interested to see what Lance goes here because at least in the draft earlier today, I was surprised to see his pick being prioritized for the end of the draft. And I mean, he doesn't even have counter pick. Um, as
Right.
that so. Oh, okay. Wait, yeah, he has counterpick into Lux. What am I saying? Yeah, so he has counterpick into the Lux here, but a lot of his champs aren't up. The Zerath is what he played earlier, and it looks like it will be what he's playing again. What do you make of the Zerath in this comp?
Um, I think that a lot of them like compete a bit against the like high range of Senna Ezreal Lux, but I feel like Xerath isn't just like that strong in this meta. I feel like earlier today we saw Xerath getting out damaged a lot by Victor.
Yeah, I think the Zerath makes more sense than it did earlier today, and there's certainly a lot of production with that beefy Shen Leona Nunu. Okay, so the Fiora being the answer to the Shen in the top lane. We've seen the Fiora being picked up by Thomas in previous matches. I can't remember if it performed well. I remember seeing a few matches being hard for the 1v9 to get off the ground on that Fiora, but will certainly be a good matchup into Shen, I assume.
Yeah, I think he played a game against Kaisa's Volibear or something, where he just wasn't able to put enough pressure against him.
Well, I mean, Kawais is the best weak side top laner in the world, so what can you do?
Yeah, truly. Um, yeah,
um, yeah, I mean, big. Okay, so there's a lot of range for Big UwU. I think that's something to really nail down here. Senna Ezreal Lux is about as long range as you can really draft in one composition. So the Zerath, I think, is a wise pickup. Still, though, the engage from Guts is really nasty. The biggest snowball ever coming out from Nunu, as well as the solar flare from Leona. Um, should enable a lot of good engages. I don't think the Shen will necessarily have too many great delivery systems. I suppose the Nunu snowball will help some, but other than that, I imagine the Shen will largely be used defensively.
right. I think that in like coordinated play though, channels tend to be a lot more impactful when you do have the opportunity to use them more aggressively. So I wonder if they'll have the chance to do that this game.
Yeah,
Shadow and Leona is not really what you want to do most of the time, but I guess it could work.
right. I do have to agree with Chat. Chat is saying that bot lane needs to win for Guts, and I agree. You don't pick Jin Leona to coast through lane, that's for sure. And the Jin is going to have to be pumping out a lot of damage for this comp to work, because
Okay.
the Zerath will be able to poke, but uh, the Jin is going to need to do a lot as well. Do you think that Big Uwu has the sufficient tank shred to deal with Leona Shen Nunu? We've talked a lot about how tanks are strong, and usually the answer is some tank shred. Fiora, of course, can tank shred, but
Yeah.
may not.
Vera has a really easy chance of doing that, but otherwise, like Ezreal Lux and I don't really have the best time dealing with Shen and Nunu or Leona if they get tanky.
Yeah, I think that's a potential win con.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, on the flip side, you also have to wonder who's going to be killing the Sejuani. Jin will not be the one damaging the Sejuani, so
Yeah,
that
definitely
leaves
not.
Lance, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know, Zerath.
France does not really do a good job with that either, unless he really specs heavily into that damage over time, into like DOT itemization. But I think usually Xerath opts for like Ludens into like Horizon Focus, which still doesn't really do a great job of shining tanks. Maybe the best play is just to ignore the tanks for now, or like just Sedge rather, and kill everyone else on the team.
Yeah, I think that is a pretty good bet. Ignoring tanks though is it's a difficult thing to do for long once the Sunfire comes in and everything.
That's for sure. Yeah.
I expect this game to also be split pretty vertically here, with a lot of focus for Guts onto the bottom lane. They'd have the
Mm,
tools. I feel like Nunu, in my personal experience, is just one of the best bot lane gankers.
yeah,
The
especially
snowball,
against like immobile lanes, like Senna in particular, can't really do anything about getting snowballed.
right? Like champions like, I don't know, Morgana or Vayne or something have tools to really interrupt that engage, but if
Hmm.
you don't, the Nunu can really gank anywhere, anytime, and it can be really difficult to ever step up in a bot lane if you don't know where they are.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if the blue team here has enough CC to really lock down Fiora in those team fights. If Fiora gets ahead earlier on, um,
Right.
then I don't know if they have to lock down that's necessary to kind of stop her later in the game.
Yeah, I'm not terribly sure um, what your win con is um, for Team Guts, if not just win bot. Because, normally you see like a Jin Zerath, you say, oh, this is a poke composition, no doubt. But they arguably get outpoked, or like they most certainly get outpoked by Senna Ezreal Lux.
Yeah, and they don't at the same time like they don't have that great engage aside from the Leona, but like landing a solar flare is like not like trivial.
No, definitely not.
Although you made it look pretty trivial in your game.
uh,
A lot of good picks there.
I had Leona's very fun to play. I will say that. So uh, maybe Team Guts will be experiencing something similar.
Maybe.
All right, the spectator delays just ended. I'm gonna go ahead and switch scenes.
Sounds good.
Double bear in the mid lane. I don't think that's surprising in this case. Widow has been one to pick barrier quite often, and I think Xerath will make good use of it this game.
Mm.
All right, well, we've seen invade from the side of the Lux team. We've seen it more than once.
Yeah.
The red team appears to be stacking, but Guts is 5-pointing. I don't think this stack will get off the ground, but we'll have to see how Volps navigates this, or if they will check this brush or not.
Yeah, they might have to burn a flash early, especially if like Lux or Center or something flashes forwards for their own CC. So we'll see.
Notably, Leona started E here. Pings in the chat. Oh, we're seeing some taunting from Yvonne. Flaming lance for picking barrier. Okay, some good banter. This is good. This is what you hope to see from your mid laner, no matter what team you're on.
Sure.
All right, pretty standard stuff. A very clean 5-point. Pretty simple stack. Nothing crazy going on. And the first camps are telling us what we thought, in that the Nunu will likely be pressuring bot side, and conversely the Sejuani top side. Ooh, the Zenith Blade does land here on the Bowsy early. We'll chunk down the Senna quite a bit. The Ignite is dropped and will force, I suppose, some sustain out of the Senna, but will not be any summoners quite yet. Still though, if you're the Leona, it's always good to assert your dominance like that.
For sure, there's definitely a psychological component too, where after you take those bad trades, like the whoever wants, the aggressors tend to have a lot more confidence, and vice versa on the other side.
Yeah, that's definitely something to be wary of, because if you're Ezreal Senna, a Leon on top of you is pretty much the last thing you want in all scenarios. Some trades going in the favor of Epsilon here. Not terribly surprising, though I'm sure we'll see more to come. So Sejuani here already grouping with Thomas. It looks like they're scouting out for an early ward in the enemy jungle, and likely the Scuttle spawn, as it is 3:15. Good force shot here will land on a Bababazi to win the trade for Team Guts. The root being exchanged, and the Zenith Blade going wide. The trade will be relatively even there, but still Archer Boy's applying a lot of pressure with this Jhin, and just keeping the enemy bot lane out off the wave as much as possible. I think wave management here is really important to note. If you're Jhin Leona and you're shoved up to the enemy tower, that usually feels really bad. If you're ever playing Leona, basically, and your E will always put them under enemy tower, you're a lot less useful of a champion. So it's good to see them not pushing quite as hard and letting the wave come to their tower instead. Gank attempt here from a Orangutan with the snowball will not land onto Widow as the binding interrupts the channeled ability there. Void Owl able to land some poke, but nothing lost or gained too much for either side. Hey Jeff, are you there?
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
I see.
My bad. But yeah, I didn't have that much more to add. Yeah, I think what you said about lane management or wave management in the bot lane is definitely very important, and they've done a good job of that so far, and also in denying Ezreal CS throughout the game. We'll have to see if they can keep up that pressure.
Right, yeah, I mean already 15 CS, that's a kill's worth for sure. Arcano Pulse will be traded for the light binding there in the mid lane. Seems like both sides are hitting their skill shots pretty well, and I think, yeah, good showing for both laners so far.
Top lane is not down that much CS actually. If you manage to pick up a lot of the CS from that wave, it'll actually be pretty even.
Yeah, this is in a pretty good shape for the Shen. Interestingly, we've seen the Nunu on this side of the map pretty often, or at least more often than we would have expected there. It looks like they're trying to get a little pressure for the Scuttle, but Luna Rose is just picking up this Infernal Drake on the other side of the map. I don't think there are eyes on them at this point. And I think this is just going to be a clean solo. Both mid laners notably not having mana and really aren't in any position to come help contest. It'd have to be on the side of Guts bot lane to check. But it's not pretty sneaky from Luna Rose, all things considered.
Considering it was a Sejuani solo, it was pretty slow too, so it's good that they got away with it.
Right. Trade's starting to look a little better for UwU's bot lane here. Yeah, top lane CS being left at 14 is really, like, that's really good, I think,
Yeah,
from
I
the
agree.
Shen here. The Fiora, of course, is a time bomb of sorts, but with the globals that Shen has, I don't think It'll be as bad as it could be. I think Orangutan is going to look for a gank here onto Yvonne, who has both summoners, and the light binding again will interrupt that snowball. We'll set up for a final spark to chunk them out. Likely dissuade them from ganking again, or at least before taking another camp, and then we'll go ahead and port there. Still, though, both summoners available for the Lux. It'll take at least a few more ganks before any gold is gained there.
Yeah, the Shen finds himself pushed out pretty far now, and it could be really disastrous. Looks like Fury's going to proc all 4 vitals there and pick up the first blood.
Yeah, I mean, that made it look pretty easy there. CC being traded there, I think Voidal pretty clearly getting the upper hand of the trade, and with that Dark Harvest proc, we'll certainly be walking away with that a little more happy than Yvonne.
I think he might be looking for an ultimate if Lux stays, but doesn't look like he's going to find anything.
Nope. And with no mid laner having TP, I think State of the Wave will be something to keep an eye on going forward. We're seeing pings here from Guts top laner here, noting the ultimate Stand United and the teleport being available, so perhaps we'll start to see Nunu pressure this bot lane. They have a 20 CS lead, but they still have yet to find a kill, and another Zenith Blade going wide. I think if you're Team Guts, you would hope to really capitalize on your advantage here. I think you need bot lane to win harder. A trade here from Archer Boy will land the root, but the Zenith Blade will go wide once again. Curtain Call comes out. But Luna Rose is here to interrupt that with the Glacial Prison. Nunu counter ganking as well with the greatest snowball ever. Oh my goodness, there's CC flying everywhere. The Zerath ult over the top. Shen is here as well. And there are just kills going everywhere for Team Guts. A 3 for 0 when all things are said and done. Well played from them. And
what? A bit of a lot there, but they definitely got a lot out of it. Shooting a 3 for 0, and are definitely going to get a big chunk into this turn now.
Yeah, I mean, that was a... everyone was there. If you count that Zerath ult, that was a 5-man bottom lane.
Yeah.
Good coordination.
Looks like he didn't miss the wave even, so pretty good.
That is more than pretty good, I think. I think the only downside is the 2 kills going onto the Nunu there. A lot of 3 assist champions for Team Guts. Final Spark does land here onto Void Owl. We'll chunk him out. But I don't think that will matter too much. So this gold lead now sits at about 1,000. If you deduct the Infernal Drake gold value, it's probably at about 500. Which side would you say scales better?
I think it'd have to be red side here. Both Fiora and Ezreal and Senna are all like they are all champions that really shine in the mid late game.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I think Jhin especially falls off. And if Lance doesn't manage to really pump out some damage, there will be trouble just getting enough strength in this team fight to finish the deal.
For sure.
I also think the Infernal Soul is a really clever pickup for Luna Rose here, because one way to think about Drakes is that they just buy time. If you're a scaling team in particular, Drakes just buy you extra time, because Soul can be thought of as a timer, and that Drake gives them 5 more minutes towards the late game, and that's 5 more minutes of late game Fiora essentially.
Yeah, I think a really good trade from Shen there, forcing Fiora back, but Fiora does still have that massive CS advantage.
So that's the makings of a really good pick here. The Curtain Call is able to finish off the Sejuani, who just found themselves way too caught up. But Epsilon comes in here with the teleport, and that will be matched by the Shen. And that will be a kill given over to Void Owl, who picks up his first kill. This is all great news if your team Guts.
For sure. Fiora looks like she still wants to contest here, but I don't know if he really has the opportunity to 3v5.
The parry does block the Zerath stun, but I think that's about all the Fiora can do here. Not a great team fighter. Will not be able to contest. The Zerath ult trying to chunk out Widow, and with the taunt from Austin, that will be enough with the Flash Arcana pulse, but Vulpes wants more as Epsilon trades back. And this might be a few more kills with Alright, there we go. Kills everywhere.
Oh wow. The Jin fourth shot plus bink 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 bonk gets the kill onto Azriel while Senna was busy watching mid with her ultimate.
Oh my goodness, this might
Oh
be
my
another
God.
kill. And indeed it will. A flash will be burned on Archer Boy on the back end. Okay, there's been a lot of gold exchanging hands here, I would say. It's hard to keep track of what's going on here. I mean, on one hand, you got 2 kills onto the Fiora, which is great news. Or I think like 1 kill and assist, if we're splitting hairs. But on the other side, Void Owl picks up, I think, 2 kills. Yeah, 2 kills off of that a lot extended team fight, and Archer Boy also picks up a few more. So although the gold lead has shrunk, I think the gold is, you know, where you want it rather than on the Nunu. What?
Sorry, I'm reading the stream comments. Okay, never mind. Sorry, please excuse me.
All right. I gotta check Twitch chat. You're tempting me.
We have a very active chat tonight. I like it.
Nice.
Yeah, the one that got me was the one of one of Pizza Hut.
Oh, Pizza Hut. Oh my goodness. If the frame rate drops on the stream, blame Jeff for making me Twitch chat. Check chat. Okay, we have a snowball. We have a snowball coming here onto Epsilon. Can they 2v1? Absolute Zero being channeled, and that should be enough. Oh my goodness, the Gore Drinker. Able to.
Oh no, it looks like she's gonna turn the tides of the battle.
Wow.
And win the 1v2.
That is nasty. That Gore Drinker put in so much work. That burst of healing with the Grand Challenge pad healing. That is disgusting. And that is a big gold swing. Let's just check the gold. Why don't we? Glacial Prison does not find its target, but the Light Binding and a Final Spark will, and that will seal the deal. Kill going over to Yvonne in this lane. Okay, gold values. Where were we? Huge difference in the bot lane. Almost twice as much gold onto Archer Boy.
Oh wow.
Which is insane. But the same can be said about the Fiora here, who is now at a 500 gold bounty. Ooh. That, oh man.
Oh wow. The CC onto Senna picks up for Archer Boy.
Yeah, I think this lane is just terrifying if you're Senna, especially if you're behind. Jin Leona is just... I would put that... I think Jin Leona is like the new Samira Pantheon in terms of just having unfair all-in. It's just so gross. It's like not fair. And they're definitely making good use of it here. Oh,
What if finds herself in a compromising position here? Gets rooted by Jin and finds herself having a end-of-life crisis.
I like that. Curtain Call here, trying to find whatever they can. It will force Nice Condemn into a precarious lane position, but it might be Bao Bao Baozi in the end being caught. Meanwhile, these trades in the top lane are starting to look even worse.
Yeah, Shen is still hanging in there, though. Doing his best.
That's true. Oh, wow. Okay, well played by Nice Condemn to get the execute. That's what we like to see. Oh, is that the Gore Drinker burn? What is the cooldown on this item?
I think so. It's pretty low. I think it's like 15 seconds.
That item is nasty.
Yeah. Ridiculous amount of sustain.
Alright, we have Cloud Drake spawning here, and both teams are at 1 Drake apiece. I suspect that the bot lane pressure in favor of Team Guts will enable them to take this one. But Epsilon is here. Looks like they want to contest it by a little more time.
Shen's still top, but he does have the Stein United to get him to that fight.
And I think the teleport as well. Can red team find their way into this? It's getting close, but the Nunu does win the smite. The solar flare does not manage to find too many priority targets, and I'm just my eyes are on Epsilon here. I think they are poised to just wipe this team fight, and that does appear to be the case. Void Owl is popping shots from the back end, but I think Luna Rose has flashed on to find and secure the target. Void Owl will limp away to the tower, and I think they will be safe for now. We'll have to see how they navigate this dive. They have 4 members. You'd like to think that Void Owl will fall here. It's a matter of who's going to find the engage. There's a barrier access available. And, yeah, okay. In the end, it was not very close, and the barrier is not even expended by Void Owl. Meanwhile, Yvonne putting some good pressure in the mid lane, knocking down that tower as well. So although the Drake does go over to the Nunu, I think UwU's comp is finding the openings it needs to win this game.
Right. We saw Bodell getting zoned off pretty hard that fight by Epsilon, and after Furia did that, she had the chance to just lunge back into that dragon pit and clean up with the rest of her team.
Yeah, I think that was a wise advantage to pressure there, because once that Zerath is removed from the fight, the damage is only on the Jhin, and I don't think Jhin is particularly able to withstand the pressure from Furia on their own, even with a lead like this.
Yuna's playing very aggressively here, but Jin's not quite in range.
Taunt manages to land without being reposted. Still though, this pressure is just so insane.
Yeah,
Looks
that
like
healing from Furia is ridiculous.
all 5 are now being sent topside. Zenith Blade does not land, and I think with all the speed, they will just easily run away. At this point, I think it's hard to tell how to navigate this mid game if your team guts. What would you do if you're in this position?
I think you have to look for plays with Leona. I think there's been some opportunities where things just haven't been landing, but it's really the best they can do, I think.
Fights breaking out here in the mid lane. I think Vulpes has found themselves on the wrong side of the team fight. Nunu will be the first one to fall, and that will be shortly followed by Vulpes' Leona. The curtain calls over the top, as well as the Zerath ult will bring in the artillery. Still, that will be a 1-for-2 when all things are said and done, and Epsilon continues to whack on this top lane inhibitor. Oh, and the back will also be interrupted by Archer Boy. So although Luna Rose burns their, loses their life for that one, there will only be 2 people to stop this Fiora, which actually may not be enough. Bababasi will flash away to make sure that the Jhin doesn't pick up another kill there, but it looks like the Fiora will just back off here.
Fiora's TPing to the mid lane. Jhin is frantically running in the opposite direction, but with that bonus TP moving speed, I don't know if he'll be able to get away.
Ooh, the flash over the trap does not quite avoid the slow, but the Grand Challenge might be able to finish this off before the Stand United comes through, but it doesn't. The Jhin root lands, as does the Arcana Pulse. 1,000 gold going over to the Shen. Yeah, and I think Team Guts will say, well, thank you for leading us to Baron, because they will just go ahead and pick this one up. You'd like to think that without the Fiora on the other side of the map, that this is about the freest Drake you will find in this game. Still, though, there's a final spark to contest with. Let's see.
Yeah, but with Nunu consume, with this might, shouldn't be that much of a problem.
That was pretty close.
Pretty close. It looks like they're going to get a kill on Sejuani here as well. Shen barely makes it out, but what's important is that he is alive. And with that, blue team has secured a Baron and manages to pick up Sejuani on the way out, with all of them still alive.
That is a very large swing in the favor of Team Guts, that's for sure. The gold lead now being brought into about 2,000. And pings being dropped onto this dragon here. One more dragon will put them in range of Soul.
On the red team bot lane, we see the double Divine Thunder attack, which I guess definitely helps a lot with what we talked about earlier with busting through those tanky members of the blue team.
Yeah, not a bad call. I know Senna has been going Eclipse, but I think altogether Senna's itemization this preseason was a little tough. Shen comes in with the teleport, and the final spark will be used in trade with the curtain call. The snowball does not manage to hit too many priority targets, and there's just backlines being traded everywhere. And I think red side is just going to punch through first. We have the Jhin trying to push out as much damage as possible, but the Fiora just lived for long enough and healed for long enough to just kind of run over the team. They were post there, blocking the Xerath stun, saying, "No, you're stunned," and picking up the kill.
Yeah, so with that, the two teams sit in even 2 versus 2 dragons. A lot of the gold is on the Fiora there, so if she finds herself caught out at any point in time, it still is easily swingable in favor of the Guts. But aside from that, there seems to be a pretty big gold gap in favor of the red team right now.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the gold. So it's about...
Fiora's sitting at a massive 12k gold.
That is insane. Still though a 2,000 gold lead for the Jhin, which is not insignificant. But I think now that the Jhin has passed that collector point, I think the Jhin will start getting weaker relative to the state of the game. I think usually that is when the Jhin is strongest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
final spark with that final spark.
I like it. Gotta assert the dominance. I'm a fan.
Curtain call comes out onto Ezreal and Lux.
This is a strange look here. I suppose the slows were used to try to set up for the Leona engage, but they don't really find much. And as this game has gone, as we've seen, this all happens well. Epsilon's in the bottom lane, picking up that gold in the tower. All right, we're starting. Okay, there was an attempted collapse there onto Epsilon. I think for the first time this game. I think if you're UwU here, you're more than content with the pace of the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's slowed down notably. And really, if you're UwU, all you have to do is just keep working this 4-1 as the pressure comes in from the Fiora. The ball's kind of in your court, I think.
For sure.
Often the answer here for the defending team is to go in on the 4v4 side of things and try to just engage on the siege. So I'm liking that we're seeing some aggressive Leona positioning. But I'm not sure if this Zenith Blade is the one you want. The Stand United is used, and that will enable Austin to get into the fight, but I don't know if it'll be enough. Still though, a kill being picked up on a Bababazi support's being traded there, as ultimates are expended by just about everybody. Flash Arcano Pulse does not manage to kill Nice Condemn, and Epsilon will take this opportunity to go in. The parry on the fourth shot and the auto cancel is enough to just go ahead and kill Archer Boy. The Glacial Person will force the flash out of Austin, and the lunges will just keep coming through to kill this Nunu without any real concern. And you'd like to think
Yeah.
that the Shen at this point is just dessert, and that will be what I believe to be a quadra kill. Yes, it will be a quadra kill. And likely the game with that, too.
Yeah, we saw Peter really just steamroll through this game. It is just how Big UwU likes to play, I guess.
Yes, it is. We've seen it many times before, and okay, there it is. There's the pentakill. I think this is the only pentakill of the tournament thus far. So congratulations to Thomas there. I think that is a good way to end the group stage. Going into tournament bracket.
We still have a couple games tomorrow.
Oh, do they have one more?
Oh, you mean for Big UwU?
Yeah.
I think they're done for the week, so I think that puts them at a comfortable 4-3.
I think you're right. His ego huge. Well, oh my goodness, Shenbot 6 Dorn on shields.
True.
I feel that. Okay. Well, that will be another W going into the win column for Big UwU. Even though the last game had its challenges as far as surrendering is concerned.
Right.
All right. And that
Okay,
will,
thanks everyone for joining us again tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow with our last few games of the group stage.
yes, we will. All right. Catch you guys later.